Boom. Go for it.
Hey, everybody. This is our GitLab engineering release video for August 24th. All right. Cool. Let's start it off. Megan looks like she's ready to jump right in with her laughing.
Dude, I'm like crying. Okay. Me and my Midwestern mumble will go as fast as I can. I'm allowed to talk about. No, my eyes are getting all red. Thanks, dude. So first off, I have an MR out to update the buttons on the free trial DevSecOps page. Those are in English, so now they can be translated. Made some pricing page translation updates. Made an update to our changelog. We were having some problems with an update to our changelog docs. So we were having a problem with our changelog having like duplicate entries. And I found that was from, so now we have like a squash commit message box and a merge commit message box. And if you have the conventional commit prefix in the squash message and the MR message, that's how we have duplicates. So yeah, just make sure you're just putting it in the MR message box and not the squash one. But those docs are updated. Finally closed out the nav spike issue that Javi and I have been working on. Thanks y'all so much for all your collaboration on that. But we're going with the Vite Git dependency route. There's some performance fix issues as well that we can do, like to fix our content layout shift. So I created some issues for that work and for the integration with CMS, and that's ready to move forward. Had a spike for how our internationalization work is going to work with our CMS. Please go take a look at that because that definitely probably impacts each and every one of you that might update a page or add a page to our CMS. It's likely that when we do that, we're not going to, or when we migrate a page to the CMS, we're probably not going to bring the translations along with it at first, so that we have like a hybrid approach in Next in our little async data function. So if English, grab the contentful data. If not, grab our translated content that lives in buyer experience content folder. That means there will be some extra scope of work for those pages that have translations, as we might have to update the YAML files of the translated pages to kind of fit with the JSON components, or the components that will now eat the JSON data. So just so you know, might not be an easy copy paste bit of work for those issues. There's going to be some more coding updates involved. And lastly, I have something to show for this is the nav performance updates where we removed personalization and updated the resource card. Let me pull that up. So when I first was working on this, I was just grabbing the data from my local server. And this was after the personalization was removed, and all these green circles, it was so exciting. Big improvements. Just got this to production today, and things didn't quite budge. But I do want to call out that this was from Lighthouse, or the performance insights in our dev tools. And I don't think that's an accurate snapshot. We should be using the Page Insights tool from Google that uses user data from the past 28 days. So every week we should be looking at that. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some upward trends and improvements in our core web vitals. I just don't trust this at all, or that at least it was the nav that has been kind of one of the bigger issues of our mobile performance problems. But all right, that's all I got, but I'll pass it off to Nathan. Thank you.
Thanks. Those stats were pretty cool. And yeah, it's not very accurate. I did some testing and I like removed a big JS file and then it increased the page load time. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, we should definitely not use Lighthouse as a source of truth for production, at least. Yeah, so just a bit of maintenance organization. So I removed like 30% of our epics. A lot of them were done, just like a year or two old, and then about 15% of our issues. I'm just trying to clean up some stuff to get ready for the CMS. And then I did some CMS spikes. So how do we handle string literals in Contentful? This could be used for maybe premium pricing where we want to like reuse that 29 value throughout the whole product. And I know they said in one of our calls there that you could use like inline references, which is like you create like a data content thing that says like 29 in it, and then you reference that every single time in a rich text editor. But I wasn't sure how that's going to scale. So I did like a small proof of concept of creating our own string literals. So just using like curly brace, I don't know, premium pricing, curly brace. And then through scripts, we could swap those out with the actual values of our premium. And anyway, so that's all in a best practices issue. I just spun it up today. I think I linked it in DEX stand-up. So I just want to put all the findings from our spikes in one place and all the information we gathered from all their contentful tutorials, I guess you can call it, in one place. And then another spike was how to figure out icons, which ends up, we're gonna have to spin up probably a contentful app or a contentful add-on or plugin or marketplace app, whatever they want to call it. So I looked into that. It doesn't seem too difficult, to be honest. There's a lot of flexibility. And then on the side, trying to help with the site vitals as well. I've migrated slippers over to Vite, however you want to pronounce it. I think it's Vite, actually. Megan, you're right. I've been calling it Vite for the longest time, and then I Googled it after you said it, and yep, it's Vite. Yeah, so that's spun up. It's in MR right now. There's some pretty big changes there. And then there's also a new repo for the marketing SVGs. So it's just a lot to drop it all right now. So I think we maybe will launch this over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think that's it for me. And looking at the board, next is Javi.
I was like looking for the tab where all the order is, and I was like, please don't have this be view right now as I'm like scrambling, but you know how it goes. If I take a second to look through what I worked on. So this iteration, the big thing that I worked on was, well, two big things. One is I bumped up the nav, which was a quick win. That went out yesterday in the afternoon, so that should be merged all in. And then the thing that I worked on was trying to get Vite to work on the navigation. Lots of stuff to talk about there. I'll share my screen real quick because I think that's where I'll start. So this is the roll-up analyzer tool. And so if I look at the entire bundle of the navigation, the JS bundle looks like this looks as big as I thought it would be. One thing that I wanted to call out is these JSON files, the way they're packaged in are kind of taking up a lot of stuff. So that might be something to look into. When we're using Contentful with the CMS, we'd probably want buyer experience to handle the process of content being built out. The reason being is that if content changes happen, we don't need to push up like new changes or anything along that end. But this looks mostly right. The one issue that I do have right now is that our slipper CSS styles are being created into this massive like style.css. It's 1.7 megs in size, and I'm trying to figure out what's up with that. I tried somewhere, I'll just call it out. I tried using Yarn Link with these Vite updates in the navigation to try to see like what it would look like. And it kind of loads slower locally, which is not a great sign. Trying to figure out what's up with that. I'm not sure if we're processing the components in the way that I thought we were. In the navigation project, I'm calling them as essentially like the payloads are, you know, the three components, the three big components of modules being the navigation, the footer, and the search. And I tried to set it up as a plugin with the existing navigation plugin file that we have. And I mean, it looks like it's loading fine. It's just slower. So I'm trying to figure out if the big like 1.7 meg CSS file is the culprit of that. It might be. So I'll try to figure that out next iteration. And we'll keep working along that stream of work until we get that down to where we want it to be. That's the big stuff that I worked on. I don't think there might have been a couple little things if I had my board handy. I lost everything, but those are the big things I worked on. I don't know who's next. I came ill prepared with the board, but whoever's next, if you could look in the order and call out whoever's next, that would be great. Thank you.
think it's Laura.
Yeah, apparently it's me. I also don't have the board open. Oh, I feel like my internet just jumped. Okay. Yeah. So this iteration, let me pull up my stuff. I did a few content changes for the Google Cloud Next page and the DevSecOps World Tour pages. That's kind of an ongoing back and forth. I also added a few pages to the robots.txt file in www that shouldn't be indexed by Google and excluded them from our sitemap in buyer experience. I finally merged the GitOps page refresh, which had some new components. I showed that last sprint release. We were just waiting for some content updates. So I won't show it again. Other than that, I did a big component audit. I posted about it in Slack, so you can all go check it out there. It's in a Figma file that shows kind of all of the web pages that exist on the site, and then kind of how I visualize each of their components being grouped and which one needs to be individual components versus combined components with different properties. So you can take a look at that there and comment in the issue that I linked as well. If you have thoughts and opinions. I added integration with Slack for our blog repo. So we'll get alerts for failures in DEX alerts. And other than that, I think that's it. Trying to catch up on all the contentful meetings that I've missed because they tend to like booking it during the 2-hour breaks I'm not in the office. That's it for me. I think Miracle is next. I'm gonna make an executive decision. Miracle is next.
Okay, this iteration for me was all about Glex experiments. So for those who don't know, I redesigned the free trial page in the product, and we'll be running an experiment, our very first experiment in the product to show the old version versus the new version. It's been slow implementations because I built our redesign about a few months ago, and in between that, we've had GitLab 16 launch. So some of the style selectors and tags that I used to redesign were deprecated in pajamas to keep up with GitLab 16. So I had to go ahead and redo those. I did have a meeting with growth team's Glex expert because there's some brand new errors that I am seeing that he hasn't seen either while implementing this process. And I guess my last blocker is it looks like there's an MR that's in the process of being approved. It looks like it's in the tail ends of being approved, where there are changes to the logos and reassurances on the free trial page. And in order for me to roll out my experiment, I have to pull in those new changes. We don't really want to be running an experiment as changes to the free trial page get pushed up to production. And that's it for me. Who is next? That's the question. Is John here?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
perfect.
you. Okay. In this iteration, I work on adding translations to the solutions Kubernetes page. Also, I did a fix in the GTag code, removing some duplicates, Google Tag Manager tags. Also, I work on implementing the contentful client on buyer experience and removing some I'm fixing some anchor links that weren't working on the pricing page. The most important issue that I'm working right now, I will show it to you right now. Sorry. This one is the live previewer in Contentful. So in this case, I implemented it for each blog post that we have in this Contentful space, and also for the archive page. And I'm working for the landing page of the blog repository. I will show you real quick what we have. Right now we have, we can have a lot of platforms. Each platform can have like a different environment for live previews. In this case, I have one for review apps and one for localhost. And here we can determine which page is which content type. For this case, I have a content type for the archive and a content type for each blog post that we have. I'm going to show you real quick what is a live previewer. For example, this. When we go to a content, to edit the content, we can go to the open live preview and we are redirected to our live previewer. In this case, it's an iframe to our application, and we can change the content live. So it is really useful for content for the content team in order to add some data in the in Contentful. So it is pretty awesome. I have also the archive page here, and we can do a real quick change here, for example. And that change in real time. It's pretty awesome. I know it would be really useful. And that's it for me. Next one is Mateo.
Thanks, John. That's so cool. We'll try to go fast since we only have 10 minutes left. Right, sharing my screen. So first, this one was a small one. It was just changing the URL for a solutions page to now live in solutions. It was previously in features. Then I had one of these content pages, the event pages, sorry, for New York. So a lot of content changes as those become available. I also had adding a video to the dedicated page, which is here now. And also did this where any publish in Contentful will now trigger the pipelines in both the blog repository and buyer's experience. So if I go and add dot and publish, then a new pipeline gets triggered. Currently, Javi triggers it. It's his token, but Megan is working on getting a DEX account so that we can know what was triggered by Contentful. Also removed some components from the DevSecOps page. It looks like this now without these two. Created new components to use in the blog. It's these. We can see them here. There's a cool thing where we have all the variants of the component in the quote. So if I go to content and quote, I have this one. And if I change the variant to, for example, light quote and publish, then I can refresh here. And the quote now looks like this. It doesn't have the image and has like different styling, so it can be switched fast from Contentful. That also triggered a new pipeline here to update prod in case this was live. And then I'm working in the last minute request to add an accordion to the Y GitLab page. So these will be toggled to display content inside. And yeah, that's it for me. Next one is Miguel.
Thank you, Mateo. For my part, I shipped a solutions page. Can share my screen. Is this new solutions, analytics, and insights page, which is pretty cool. Thank you very much to Jess and Margaret and Laura for all the help here. We do have a follow-up issue for this component to add the tabs for videos and blog over here, but this is live already. Also, I shipped this DevSecOps virtual for Dallas page. And also, I worked a little bit on documentation for the iterable email that was requested, and all the contentful reading. And yep, that was it from me. And next is, sorry, I think it's Margaret.
He's out. We can skip her because we're running low on time. We'll jump to Timmy.
Okay.
Okay, I will try to be fast. So I updated our Swift type on our search. All my other issues are still happening. They are going on. I started to try to fix our bug found on a specific component that is not localizing our links. I'm struggling with it. I don't know why the bug is happening, and it's really hard to try to fix it because it's not happening locally. So locally it's working just fine. I spent some days trying to fix it. Since I couldn't, I started my AI tab on this DevSecOps page because it's a huge one. I'm working with Trevor. I can show my screen really quickly. Okay. So this is the page. We changed it a little bit, the design here in the header, also in the text. And this is our new, I would say like it used to be the tabs, but it's also tab navigation. And yeah, I finished this part. So I'm going to change the content and that's it. I think that's it for me. And I will pass back to Justin.
Thank you. And with that, have a good weekend.